G'day viewers, Michael Taylor from 64 Motorsport. Just a quick intro regarding the following video. This covers the installation of my new Supersprint exhaust system on the E46 BMW, but because it's such a big job, I've decided to break it up into two separate videos. So part one is like a prequel, which covers all the prep work and that sort of thing, whereas part two covers more the assembly and installation. So if you're on the first one, then there's a link below for the next one that you can click on to go straight to that. If you've landed on the second one and you haven't seen part one yet, then there's a link above and below. You might want to pause this one and click on that link and go watch that one first. So I won't hold you up anymore. Let's get straight into the video and I hope you enjoy it. TTFN. G'day viewers, Michael Taylor from 64 Motorsport and welcome to my channel. It turned out to be a really good day here in Brisbane today. It started off really rainy and totally miserable, heaps of fog and everything like that. So I was really worried about how things would go today because I had a bit of painting to do and all that sort of stuff, and we've got a really exciting episode coming up this week. So as you probably gathered by the video description, we're going to be installing the Supersprint exhaust onto my E46 BMW, and that's what we've got planned for today. This thing has been sitting in my garage for a couple of years and I've been moving this box around like crazy because it's such a big box, it just gets in the way all the time. Finally getting to install it and I'm super stoked about it. So I've had a heap of work to do to get to this point and I'll run through that later. But just to give you a look around what I've been up to this morning, because it's lunchtime now, I'll just show you what I've been up to. So I'll just move the camera around and I'll get some footage of what I've been doing. There's my pizza box, and they probably don't show up really well, but there's a heap of nuts and bolts in there. There's a black box there, nuts and bolts, I've got all that painted. And coming over here is my drying rack. What I've been up to this morning is getting all this sort of stuff painted. And these are all the brackets. Yeah, it's copped a real workout this morning, that wire wheel. Getting all those nuts and bolts all sort of polished and ready for paint and all the grease and everything cleaned up. Because when I pulled the exhaust system off the car, everything just sort of came off and got bagged up, and I never really sort of had anything cleaned or prepped or anything like that. So, which is probably a good thing because it's been sitting there for a couple of years, and if I'd have cleaned all the gunk off, it might have started to go rusty by now. And as I say, I was really worried about the weather because the rain and wet weather and paint aren't generally good bedfellows. So fortunately sun's come out and I've been able to get that sort of stuff done. I've got to get some of these brackets and everything back on. I'll get some footage underneath the car, and then I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but way over there on the, where is it? Way over there, you can just see the top of that box. That's my exhaust system, so I've got to get that out from over there and over here and up onto the table so we can start unboxing it. I've not opened it yet. That's pretty much the way it arrived from the States about 2 years ago. You're going to get to come along with me as I unbox this and have a look at it for the first time. Stick around because it's going to be lots of fun. I'm going to show you what I've cleaned up underneath the car and get everything prepped, ready to go. I've got my heat shields all cleaned up, they're ready to go. So yeah, I've got to get all those heat shields on, all those brackets on, get that unboxed and get it onto the car. So a lot to get through. If you've got an E46 BMW, these Supersprint exhausts are top of the range. I mean, you know, they're renowned for their quality, their workmanship, accuracy in terms of size, in terms of being a straight on bolt on part. So we're going to find out today how good they are, and might help you make a decision as well. So anyway, let's see how we go. Okay, so what I'm up to now is I've got new brackets to go on the rear. So I've got the rear heat shield in place, so I'm just going to put these brackets in. Parts I got new brackets for the back, a couple of new gaskets to go up the front obviously, and there's this part here. Because it's a twin system off the exhaust manifold, you need that stay to stop the two pipes from spreading apart. So when we do the install, it'll probably seem a little bit clearer. New nuts, so we shouldn't have the same problem we had before, and some new 10mm bolts for the front flange. And as you saw, I've cleaned up all the nuts and bolts and that sort of thing, so hopefully I've got everything and it all makes sense as I sort of start to piece it together. So fingers crossed, guys. So yeah, this is my exhaust system still in the box, and as I say, I haven't opened it since it was delivered, so I haven't even checked it yet, but that was 2 years ago, so I'm stuffed in terms of trying to put a claim in on it. The box looks in pretty good nick, so I'm not too concerned, but I'm going to open that. I'm going to try and work out how to film this because it's such a big box and I don't have a lot of space here. I'm going to reset up the camera and see what it looks like. That's a knife. There's lots of foam and stuff in here. One. Oh, this one's in. Oh, that was an effort. That last one was really heavy. That's the one with all the brackets and everything in it. So, but that's actually the rear section, so that's why it's sort of heavier. So I'm going to move the camera over. I'll unwrap it so we can see what it actually looks like. All the brackets and everything are on it, so that's all good. Just looking at the quality of the welds and the workmanship and the mandrel bends and that, it looks really good. And this is just the X-pipe section, which is the front section. So yeah, let's get these other ones open. I hope it installs easier than it comes out of the plastic, because otherwise I'm going to be in real strife. That looks like instructions. And a certificate. So I've got everything laid out on the floor and I'm not really sure what my plan is. My initial thoughts are, rather than trying to wrestle pieces together underneath the car, because I don't have a lot of clearance under there, what I'm thinking of doing is bolting it all together and then sliding it under the car using my trolley jack to sort of start lifting it up, and then once I've got the rear end sort of lifted up to roughly the height, secure the front loosely to the flange off the exhaust manifold, maybe use some chocks of wood and stuff like that to help keep it stable, and then come back and start putting brackets and things like that together. So, and I'm not really sure how it pieces together because there's not instructions in there, it's just the certificate. Yay! For the most part it all seems pretty self-explanatory. I'll keep going and we'll see what happens, eh? So I've got these 3 seems like an odd number extension pieces. Maybe it's a just in case thing. So that's the brackets for the tail section. I just got those loosely in place because I'm going to obviously have to move them around to get them to line up with the thing. There's a thing on the end there and I'm not really sure what that's for. I don't recall there being a third exhaust mount on the back, and maybe it's just there for like the 3 litre model or something like that. I don't know.
So right now, I don't know what time it is. As you can tell, I haven't got the door closed. It's just dark outside, and that's the reflection of the lights in the background that I've got on. But basically I've got it together, but I'm not really sure whether it can slot together anymore. I measured how far it's gone in, and it's gone in about 50 mil. What's going to be telling is when I get it underneath the car, whether it lines up at the back with the mounts. But fortunately, with the setup that I've got a bit of room to play with. I'm at a bit of a loss now. I guess it's slided under the car, and we'll see what happens, but it's as heavy as all fuck. Mind you, they reckon it's, I don't know how many pounds lighter than the original one, and I know the original one was like really heavy when I got it out, but it's always easier to lift something down than to hold something up while you try and get a nut into place. So I might just loose fit up these brackets, slide it under the car, and see how we go. Well, it's actually about 6:30 at night, so shortest day of the year this year. I didn't realise, that's probably why it got dark so quick. Caught me out a bit. So I've got the assembled system underneath the car, and that was an effort because I'd changed a few things around in the garage from when I'd pulled it out and put in some extra shelving and that sort of thing, and it's made it really tight because I've had to sort of come in at an angle and slide it under and things like that. So I've got the rear of it supported up on a trolley jack, and the front I've got supported on using my skateboard, which allows it to sort of move a little bit while I sort of fiddled with the brackets on the back. So I'll get the camera underneath there, and you can have a look. Hopefully there's enough light that you can sort of see what's going on, and we'll go from there. Really happy with the way it looks. Like a really nice build quality, and if you guys haven't heard of Supersprint, they're an Italian design, but the sound that it gives the system is a nice sort of European sort of sound. So I'm going to persevere, see how much more of this I can get done, and then I'll make a decision as to how I proceed and whether I do a second video or not. So anyway, I'm going to put the camera down so I can get cracking. I'm not going to set the camera up on the tripod because there's just not enough light underneath there. It's not a good garage with light. It's only got one small light and the rest of it's floodlights, and it just gives off too much of a glare. So anyway, I'll keep persevering. I'll get some more footage as I progress, and we'll see how we go. Well, thank you viewers for watching. That hasn't really turned out as complete as I would have liked, but unfortunately time's getting away and I'm going to have to call it a night. I'm really happy with the system itself. I mean, the Supersprint system has lived up to all its expectations in terms of the quality of build, the quality of the welds, the ease of fitment and things like that. So some of the issues really that I'm having are probably more to do with working in a tight space. Like, I mean, if I had it up on a hoist and I could have jack stands and things like that, it'd be so much easier, but I'm working in this much sort of crawl space, so there's not a lot of room for leverage and things like that. And where I'm up to is I've pretty much got the rear section, the brackets sort of all aligned and everything like that. I've got one of the center brackets in with the rubber supports or anti-vibration mounts. That's all set up, and I'm just having an issue around where it bolts onto the flange where it comes off the exhaust manifold, and that's only because I'm working by myself and it's a matter of moving back and forward and things like that, and because I've only got it supported on the jack at the back end, it's not horribly stable. So if I had another person, maybe it might have been easier and they could sort of support it and move it up and down and sideways and what have you. I'm going to keep persevering with that, and I should have that knocked off through the week. I mean, all the fittings and everything are just tight. loosely tightened at the moment, so that all needs to be tightened up once I get those flange bolts sorted. But yeah, it's been a really good exercise. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll do an update probably on my next video just to sort of give you a final sort of conclusion to it. I wish I could have concluded tonight, but that's the way it goes when you're working on cars. Sometimes things don't always go to plan. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Don't forget, if you'd like to see more of my videos on my BMW E46 build, hit that subscribe button and tickle that bell so you get notified each time new content comes out. The Supersprint catback exhaust system was the last major component that had to go onto the car. So the big brakes are done, all the suspension's done, the supercharger's in and all that sort of thing. All sorts of plastic stuff to go back on. It's all up on the rack there. Half of it I've already got cleaned up, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. So it's all fiddly bits and pieces, and we're getting really close to the finish line where I get to fire it up. So thanks guys for watching. Until next time, look after yourselves, stay safe, and TTFN.